Hello again. I'm Dr. Bev Smallwood, and I love the fact that you're here. We're going to talk about some exciting experiences I had some years ago and what that means to us and the impact it had on me then and what I believe it contains that may apply to you and me right now where we are. So we'll get right into that in a minute, but in case you're wondering what this contraption is, if you haven't seen the last video or two, I did take a fall and broke my right shoulder, but I'm coming along. I've started physical therapy and it's healing, so that's a good thing. All right, so let's get into it. A few years ago, I was doing a lot of work in South Africa. It was at a very pivotal time in their history. It was when they were transitioning from the apartheid government into a democratic government that included all races. And it was a very wonderful time to be there. But I had an experience that really just still stays with me today. So I was working with a particular organization there, and I was staying in the flat on the Indian Ocean of the CEO of that company. So that was beautiful. I mean, tough work. Somebody's got to do it, right there on the Indian Ocean. And every day a driver would come to pick me up to take me over to where I would be doing the work with the organization. So this particular morning, I was standing outside waiting for the driver, and all of a sudden I heard something. And I looked up in the tree and I could not believe it. There was a monkey, like a real live monkey, and he was jumping around in the tree, and I was so excited. So I said, "Oh, hello, come down, come down." And he was just going on about his business. So I thought, bananas. I have some bananas in the kitchen. I'll go get a banana. And so I go into the kitchen and get a banana and I come out and I'm trying to coax him one more time. And about that time, the driver arrived and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, see that little monkey up in the tree? I'm trying to get him to come down." So I went and got a banana for him. And the driver said, "Listen, don't feed the monkeys." I said, "Why not? They're so cute. They won't hurt a flea." And he said, "No, that's not the truth. If you feed those monkeys, they will never leave this flat alone. Look, they will learn to open the kitchen windows and get in where there's more fruit." He said, "We have monkeys outside our house in the mango trees. And when we come out, the monkeys throw the mangoes and hit us in the head. Don't feed the monkeys." Well, I thought about that for a long time. Don't feed the monkeys. I just believe there's so many things in our lives that we feed that will take over if we don't stop feeding them. So, look, about those monkeys, you can't stop them from showing up. You can only determine what you're going to do with them and how much you're going to feed them. So, I've spent more than 40 years in a counseling office watching people feed the monkeys in their own heads. And if that's you, I want to help you change your mind habits so that you can change your life. So, if this is your first time here and we haven't met, as I said, I'm Dr. Bev Smallwood. I'm a psychologist and I've been in practice for over 40 years. And everything I do here lives under four headings: heal with hope, cope with confidence, live with purpose, and lead with wisdom. And today we're in cope with confidence. Because what we do with our thoughts is not a small thing, it's a great big thing in determining the quality of our lives. Now, I want to be careful here because I'm not going to sit here and tell you just think positive. That's not therapy. It's maybe a nice bumper sticker or something, but it's not realistic work. Negative thoughts are going to show up, and you can't post a guard at the door of your mind and keep every one of them out. That's not how minds work. But here's what you can do. You can decide which ones you feed. Look, attention is food. And every time you turn a thought over and rehearse it and tell it to yourself again in the shower and again at 2 o'clock in the morning, you're feeding it. And a fed thought gets bolder. It stops waiting to be invited. It just brings the suitcase and moves in. So let me introduce you to four of the monkeys I see most often. See if you can recognize any of them. The first one is the mirror monkey. It starts with you and then it spreads. It sounds something like, something is wrong with me. And a few minutes later, and my whole situation is a mess. And then it goes for the throat. And it's always going to be this way. Me, my circumstances, my future. That's the pattern. And it is so consistent. I've heard it in that order from everyone from CEOs to college freshmen. Here's how you starve it. Separate the fact from the verdict. The fact might be, I lost the account. The verdict is, I'm a failure and I always will be. Hey, one of those is information. The other one is a monkey with an opinion. And do this, put the word yet on the end of the sentence about your future. I haven't figured this out yet. Okay, that one syllable reopens the door that monkey just slammed. Here's the second monkey, the echo monkey. This is the one that replays what somebody said to you. The offhand comment, the look across the table, the email with the tone in it. You know what those are like. And you play it and you play it and you play it some more. And each time you play it, it gets a little worse than it actually was. You're not remembering it anymore. You're producing it with lighting. And here's how you starve it. Take the useful 10% and let the rest go. Ask yourself one honest question. Is there anything true in that I can actually use? If yes, take it, use it, grow from it. That's maturity. But then you're done. The rest of it does not get another rehearsal. And I'll tell you what helps me. Marcus Aurelius, of all people, wrote this. He said, when someone criticizes you, look at the kind of person that's doing the criticizing, and you'll realize you don't need to be tied in knots about their opinion of you. That was 2,000 years ago. Some monkeys are very old. Here's the third monkey, the mountain monkey. The one that only knows how to say one thing. This is too much. It's a mountain. Now, notice it never gets specific. It never says step one is going to be difficult. It just makes the whole thing enormous and vague at the same time. And a problem that's enormous and vague is a problem you can't start to solve. That's the trick. The mountain monkey doesn't make you fail, it keeps you from beginning. So here's how you starve that monkey. A mountain has no handles, a step does. So ask, what is one thing I could do in the next 10 minutes? No, it's not a grand plan implemented, completed in your head and your actions. It's one phone call, maybe even one you're a little nervous about making. There were days when I was writing my new book, All the Rage, How to Deal with Angry People Without Becoming One Yourself, when I really feel overwhelmed and like I'll never get this done. And on that day, I'd tackle one page or one story or one concept. I had a client whose office was an overwhelming mess. What does she do? She started with cleaning out one drawer. Are you getting it? Because here's what I've watched happen 1,000 times. That overwhelm doesn't lift and then you move. You move, even a tiny step, and then the overwhelm lifts. Action comes first every time. And here's that fourth monkey, and it's a big one, the what if monkey. This one is just sneaky because it dresses up like you're being responsible by thinking through these things. What if I don't do this well? What if I mess it up? What if they see me fumble? Look, that monkey has never once helped anybody prepare for anything. All it does is just run the disaster reel on a loop while you sit there and pay for the ticket. So here's how you starve it. Make it finish the sentence. The what if monkey speaks in fragments on purpose because vague fear is stronger than specific fear. So make it be specific. Then what? Okay. And then what happens? And then what? Play it all the way out. And about 90% of the time, you land in the same place. Well, then it would be uncomfortable and I'd handle it. That's it. That's the monster, uncomfortable, and you'd handle it. Hey, one more thing, listen to me. Perfectionism is not a high standard, it's a fear wearing a nice suit. Done is better than perfect. Done and imperfect has helped a lot more people than flawless and never started. So, the mirror, the echo, the mountain, and the what if. Those are 4 examples of those monkeys not to feed. You're not going to keep them from showing up. That's not the goal. The goal is that you stop handing them something every time they come around. Because if you keep feeding them, they'll learn how to open those windows and sneak in your kitchen all the time. And here's the other half of it, because you can't starve a thought by just trying not to think about it. You have to put something better on that plate. Truth, gratitude. For me, that's often scripture. What's right in front of you that's actually good? Our souls are dyed by our thoughts, not just by the thoughts you once had on a bad Tuesday, but by the ones you soak in, by the ones you keep feeding. Paul said to the Philippians, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, think about these things. Look, it's not that the hard things aren't real, but it is that what you dwell on is what you become. So, what I want from you today is this, and I mean it. Down in the comments, tell me which monkey is loudest in your head, the mirror, the echo, the mountain, or the what if. Just type the name. And you're going to see how much company you have if a lot of people do that. And if this video was useful to you, go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell because YouTube won't show you the next one if you don't. I put out new videos on a weekly basis on healing, coping, purpose, and leadership. And you can follow me on LinkedIn and pick up the newsletter where I go deeper on this in writing. And do me one favor, send this to somebody who's been feeding a monkey lately. You know who they are. You may have talked to them this week. Hey, we all have some work to do on keeping our minds healthy by giving them good nutrition, not junk. So, until we get back together, I want to remind you, keep going, keep growing, and you'll come out stronger on the other side. I'll see you next time.